Welcome. Tonight in Bent TV we start with the Bear Cave, where Mark and his guests discuss relationships in the bear community. Then Ginni, who on a recent trip to Los Angeles caught up with Grammy Award winner Sirah. And we finish tonight with Lost in Translation, with the topic being phone etiquette.
Hi, I'm Big Bear Mark, and welcome to this episode of The Bear Cave. With me today, I've got my good friends Nick Laws and Steve Scalone.
Hello. Hey.
Hi guys, how are we going today?
Yeah, really, really good.
Doing
Thanks
great.
for having me on again.
Good. Look, we're going to get a bit personal today. We're going to talk about relationships, and within the bear community, one thing I think I've found is that there's actually a lot of open relationships. Now, is open, I sort of want to talk about open versus monogamous relationships. Do you have a problem with open relationships, Steve, at all?
No, I'm actually in an open relationship, but I totally respect a monogamous relationship as well. I always think it's between the actual partners, the couples, and whatever suits whoever is fine by me.
Yeah, I think I'm actually in an open relationship as well. And Nick, do you find now? Nick, you're single.
Single.
So you're sort of.
I don't care.
You don't care. But does it make a difference to you?
Look, for me, it doesn't worry me. But I think for one thing, it's just like not the concern for me, but it's just like when you get ones where you get people that say they're in a monogamous relationship, and then you sort of like suddenly find there's interest on the sides. Sort of being expressed, I can find it can be a little bit of an awkward situation for people there. Look, if it's an open and honest, that's fine, but when it's just like a veneer of mahogany or whatever it is, mahogany,
yeah,
it's one of those things that sort of like makes it for a little bit an awkward thing. It's just like you say, open, be honest about it.
Yeah, when you're being deceitful, I think that's morally just not on. It's not right.
Yeah, and that's where it comes into play. I mean, if you're open, let's make sure that you tell the truth and you are open. You don't want to rock up and see the person's partner the next week and get
horrified.
Horrified that they're at you going, "You slept with my partner."
Yeah.
Have you ever had a situation like that?
No, luckily not. But usually, I think it's just a lot of communication in the beginning anyway. Well, as much as hooking up goes anyway in terms of communication. But yeah, usually you can kind of figure out what the actual honesty is all about. If they're not willing to meet at a certain time or they're being quite secretive, yeah, you can kind of tell.
You can usually tell that something is quite not right.
Exactly.
And I mean, I suppose, Nick, in this age of hookup apps and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't necessarily honest on hookup apps either about what their relationship status is.
Exactly. I mean, it's just I don't actually use it myself, but I have actually sort of through Facebook and that sort of arranged a few little things here and there. But just a sort of side anecdote, I sort of did amuse me. I sort of met someone just recently and went to a venue, and then I found after sort of like back at the changing rooms again, he was already on the app again, organising the next person. I thought, sometimes there's got to be a courtesy to this sort of thing, you know what I mean? It's just like we've just finished there, it's just like meeting up.
At least wait till I left the building.
It's like, at least let's wait until we're out of sight.
Is that a real social faux pas, Steve? Do you think? Wait
know.
half an hour before you get to hook up or something.
It should be.
To me, it's the equivalent of rolling in the olden days with the dial tone phones and all that sort of thing. It'd be like rolling over when you finish, ringing up and saying, "Are you available?" I mean, come on, isn't it along that sort of equivalent?
Yeah.
It's just so I suppose it's just been really open and honest. They're ready for the next one,
Yeah. Don't take it personally.
Exactly. Nick, do you think that being open in a relationship is a very bear thing to do? It's like, do you feel like there's a lot of bears that are in this situation?
I don't think it's particular to bears. I think it's like maybe just a gay community in general or whatever. It's just like, it's not just particular to bears. I think it's just like, I know people who aren't, whether they identify as bears or not, but it's, a bit of a hard one to say that.
Yeah.
Would you say it's about a 50-50?
I've never actually surveyed people.
Yeah, I know.
It's a hard
It's
number.
a hard one, but I would actually say that amongst my friends, it is almost 50-50, but I actually think in the more general community, I thought it might be, in the bear community at least, it might be a bit higher.
A bit higher, yeah. Well, I guess the ones that do tend to go on the scene, like places like the Laird or the Circuit and places like that, tend to be open, where more monogamous tend to be slightly more nesters and live in the burbs.
I do
perhaps?
actually know a few people who are in the sort of monogamous ones where they purposely don't go out because they sort of like do have the concerns there that, you know,
It's
sort of
just
like going
not
out
their
onto the
lifestyle.
scene there, it's just like, you know, that's just like they're putting themselves out and available and those sort of things, and people might stray, or the temptation might be there.
Yeah, the temptation of what is there.
It's just like, so making sure it's just like the home life is sort of on or whatever like that, and sort of like keep it out of the sort of scene of it all. So yeah, interesting.
So with open relationships, I mean, you think, I mean, I suppose everyone is going to be different in their relationships. In your experience, do you set fast ground rules about what is acceptable in your relationship?
Not at all, no.
No?
No. No, we have chatted about it, but no, we're quite honest about most things like that. I'm just trying not to give too much away.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially we tend to not really discuss it, but if we're disappearing for a few hours or so, we kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because we have very different kind of faux pas as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose as was said, every relationship is different. And I mean, I know with my partner, we've got an open relationship, but we don't do much outside the relationship. It's usually only when someone's interstate or something like that.
Yes.
Which is because it's easier, because I like to spend time with my partner, and I like to, you know, I don't want to leave him to go off to a hookup. But if he's not around, well, that's different. But being single, you don't have that restriction.
Look, it's just like, you know, it's just like single. It's just like awesome. Just like do what you want when you want.
Do what you want.
Just like, and how you want, wherever you want.
To do it, where you want to do it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think this is going to be a bit of a revelation to some people that, you know, that this is so prevalent in the bear community, to people who aren't in the bear community?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's a revelation. I think it's just like, yeah, we were talking before. It's just like, you know, the you know, monogamy versus not has been, you know, around since before Jesus. We can say Jesus, can't we? It's just, so yeah, it's been around for, you know, sort of long time there. You know, it's just like, it's, you know, whether it be straight people or whether it be.
Yeah. So if you were getting into a new relationship, would you be open to an open relationship, or is it you want a close?
Yeah, it's interesting. It was just having come out of a relationship a little while ago there after quite a few years, and it was just like there was an open relationship there, and that actually worked out really well. But this time round, it's sort of like a sort of wonder. It's just like I'm actually looking for something different with the right person, you know, next time round. So it's just like I would actually question it, you know, from previous experience.
Well, unfortunately, Nick and Steve, we have to leave it there. I've been Big Bear Mark, and this has been the Bear Cave. Thanks for watching.
So, after a wonderful 2 weeks in New York City, I flew to the West Coast to sunny Los Angeles. It's a city of sun, shopping and celebrities with award winners everywhere you look. I even ran into a Grammy Award winner, randomly, at a party. Now, I'm in LA. I've got to ask you, lady, is this like, am I going to get shot for wearing this?
No, I'll protect you.
You will?
I love this. I love this.
This beautiful lady sitting next to me is, of course, Sirah. Now, I'm actually really excited to break her to Australia because this lady over here has won a Grammy Award. She's got a new EP out. I can't wait to share her story with you. Sirah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for joining me.
Now, about the New York
And
hat.
thank you for the New York hat, because I really respect and appreciate that. You won't get, like, shot or killed in LA unless you wore, like, a full red outfit in the wrong neighborhood, so you're fine.
A red outfit?
Or a blue one, depending on where you're at.
Really? Is it like the Spanish bull thing? Like, you know how bulls see
you are
red?
adorable. No, I wish it was. That'd be so tight if that's what we had to worry about. I'm like, wow, the bulls are out. I gotta stay home. Gotta really tone it down.
Speaking of gangs, I mean,
Speaking of gangs.
you had a pretty interesting childhood. Now, I read up on you just before I interviewed you. You sent me some links, and I was blown away at the journey that you had. I mean, you grew up in New York.
Yes.
And you came from a broken family, and then you went to live with your dad in the jungle. Are there jungles in New York that aren't made of concrete?
Well, there actually are the jungles.
Yeah.
And then, no, we went to like a forest we went to a forest in Washington State at one point.
Really?
Yeah, my dad and my stepmom were hippies, like hardcore. So we lived like in a trailer in the forest.
Wow.
Yeah. I grew up with like a medicine man and like chanting and nudists. So.
Nudists?
No big deal. Standard. Everybody's been there, right? You know?
And medicine man, chanting I can relate to because I meditate too and we chant a lot in Sanskrit.
I meditate. I love chanting.
Nudist too? Did you like partake in that as well?
No. You know what? I feel like since a very young age I've been very like self-aware. Not like body conscious, but just self-aware.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, this is weird. Thank God for that. I don't know how I figured it out, but I was like, yeah, this is pretty weird. So I didn't partake in the nudity. My parents, unfortunately, did. My dad and my stepmom.
Wow, so you woke up to lots of nudity?
I saw a lot of things, you know? It was a very dark time. I always feel like, and this is gonna sound terrible, but I don't care. It's like the people that shouldn't be nude want to be nude the most. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't be nude right now. It's very intense.
It always happens that way, isn't it?
Yeah, you know? Story of my life. Story of my life.
I read too that when you were living in the forest, like,
oh yeah,
you had to survive on, was it raccoon meat?
Yes. Well, different things, but like they were very much like about, you know, like indigenous culture, like Native Americans, which I think is derogatory, but I don't know. So indigenous culture. So like me and my stepmom are driving down the road one day and she hit a raccoon. So then we pick it up, take it, skin it, make a drum out of it, use its teeth for a necklace, and eat it for dinner.
Wow.
Also very normal, you know?
Well, because you are of the belief that if you do kill something that is living,
use it all, yes.
So you don't waste the actual body or the flesh of that living thing. Wow.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily, I mean, it's just very conscious. Like, if you're going to take something in any fashion, you have to completely, you know, use it up and make sure that you're, like, you know, commemorating its life in a way.
That is insane.
That's why I think it's like, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
A little too far.
Yeah.
Raccoon is a little tough. It's a little tough meat.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
I think, because there's so much waste nowadays with everything.
Absolutely. When I said it was insane, I was in reference to the fact that, you know, you grew up in that environment and then you went over to, I guess, you said, I read something that your mum said that you had more of a voice for rapping than singing.
Yeah.
So your mum was like, you're better at the rapping.
Yeah, my mom's like, oh, you're singing. Oh. And I mean, I grew up rapping because then after the forest, my little escapade in the jungles, I went to the actual jungles, but I lived in Queens, so like I feel like everyone in New York raps at some point in their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a rite of passage. You just come out the womb and...
Exactly, like a sacrament. Like, oh yeah, you get baptized, and you learned how to rap.
Exactly.
And you learn how to join a gang. And then you wear the New York caps.
Standard. And Timberlands.
Yeah.
Or
Timberlands. What? Steel caps.
Steel caps. Steel caps. I'm wearing my steel caps right now.
Well, when you moved to New York, you bought a Jeep, I believe, and you wanted to live... You lived in there pretty much.
I actually, when I moved to LA...
Yeah.
Because I've been on my own since I was like 15. So eventually I got a car, and so I lived in it in Los Angeles. And that was like a while. And then I lived at the Union Station in downtown LA. And then I got like my first apartment, and it was a garage in East LA, which is still the hood. And it was like, not like, you know how people redo garages and they're beautiful and you're like, what? It was not. It was like, there was holes in the ceiling, so I'd wake up, they were doing construction next door, and I'd have like sawdust on my face, and I was sleeping next to an actual car. It was an interesting time.
You rented out that garage?
Yeah, I actually paid money to live in that. Like, I have no idea why.
Seems like a step down from the luxury of your Jeep.
You know, it was, honestly. I'm like, what? that had leather. This is rough. But you know, it's all perspective. I was like, oh, it's like living on a, you know, in a cabin on a lake. And everyone's like, no, it's like living in a garage in East LA. It's not. No.
This is Ginny signing off from Bent TV.
Hello and welcome to Lost in Translation, where we look at things under the gender microscope. Tonight I am joined by Simona and Kurt. Welcome.
Hi, Nate.
Welcome. Welcome. Well, it's nice to welcome you, isn't it?
So as you said gender microscope, and all of a sudden I thought of a bong.
What was the correlation between? Was it just who knows? Okay, it's best not to ask.
Let them figure it out, Tal. We've got stuff to talk about.
Okay. So I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about phone etiquette.
Excellent.
As in mobile phone etiquette or being on the phone with someone.
No, not on the phone.
That's a whole other thing.
What if
being
you
on the phone
like,
with
you know?
someone.
Like,
Well, which way would you like to
what
go?
comes to your mind?
Obviously, you know, mobile phones, they're like mini computers, so people are always on them because they can do anything and everything. And yeah, the worst is when people are walking down the street looking at their phone and they just walk straight into you. I can't stand it. And I actually saw a girl at Flinders Street Station crack it. She went, move! Because everyone was just on their phones walking in front of her. So I followed her through. She was great.
Oh, like going through peak hour traffic with an ambulance.
Yeah,
It's the quickest way to get anywhere.
Just a cranky lady. Follow a cranky lady.
Oh, ambulance. Oh, it's a treat.
Yeah.
I'm going to get there in half the time.
Well, that's a good tip. I'm going to remember that one.
Never run late again.
No.
Off topic. Sorry, gone off topic.
It's fine, you're allowed to go off topic. Do you have
Mobile phone etiquette.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I have a story, which was hilarious. So it's like, I was having sex, and I was hilarious.
Yeah, it's always a good start.
So I was pretty exhausted, and she wanted to go out for a cigarette. And I thought, oh, that's all right, you can go out for a cigarette. So I sat down on the couch and got on my phone, and then she finished her cigarette, and she came in and she went, oh, I'll get my clothes on, shall I? And I went, I'm just checking my Facebook. Like,
Who are you messaging? I'm suddenly concerned.
no, I wasn't messaging anybody. I just like had 7 likes, and she was having a cigarette. So I thought, well,
A good opportunity.
I'm not going to have a cigarette. I'm just going to check my likes.
Which one's healthier? That would be a...
Well, I reckon
Checking
checking
your
your likes is better than having a cigarette.
That's true.
It might not be mentally healthier though, because what if it's only like 1 like and you're expecting 5?
Yeah, borderline personality disorder and Facebook is a bit of an issue, which is sort of my shit sandwich. Yeah.
Facebook's an interesting one. It's for different people, you know, it can have totally different reactions to it.
Well, and the hardest thing about, because I'm a performer and I do my own PR, so it's kind of like, I'd love to delete my Facebook account, you know, I'd love to
But you need it for your
create an event
connections.
and have someone else kind of like, you know, check the likes, and so I don't have to like, you know, live my life out on Facebook. But unfortunately, when it comes to social media, it's a big part of my job as this kind of self-managed, you know, musician. Oh, it's tough. It is tough, actually, you know. So, anyway, try not to get too personal on it. Yeah, but I thought that was a bit odd. Actually, she could have a cigarette, but I couldn't check my phone.
Well, it
I think it was that was a showstopper right there.
Right there.
But it wasn't like you were doing it during, so it wasn't like you were like, just wait a second, I just heard a ping.
Yeah, well...
Have you done that before?
No, but I've seen it on the telly recently.
I've seen it on the telly as well. There was a movie or something, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And they were sexing and the phone went off and they were just like, hang on, I've got to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Have you
I
done
think
that,
on the
mate?
girl with the dragon tattoo, I think they're rooting and I don't know, anyway.
Rooting and texting.
Well, he's just checking...
Sexing and texting.
Yeah, you're coming up with ideas.
Sexting.
And I think on, that Transparency show, and there's that, the son who's a dick, and we can say that because it's a film and shit, or it's a series. But yeah, he's a dick, and he's like rooting his girlfriend and checking his phone, and it's like, oh, such a bad scene, you know. So I wasn't doing that, but Christ, I was sitting on the phone. I was sitting on the couch checking it out. So.
Yeah, so it wasn't during.
See, I've had it that I've heard it.
Post-coital Facebook.
That's okay. So that's what you're saying. That's a tick.
If they're out having a diary, I can do whatever I like.
I agree with that. You are totally within your right to check your likes.
Well, I stood up for myself. I did, and showstopper. Sorry, Dale. This is over.
What were you going to say, mate?
Sorry. No, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Just keep talking. It's good. See, I've had that. You know, that I've heard my phone go off.
Yeah.
And so then you get distracted because you're like, oh, and so you hear it ring once. And then you're like, oh, whatever. And then you hear it ring a second time, you're like, maybe someone's died.
Yeah,
like,
someone needs me. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm that important, and also I'm clearly a negative Nancy, because I'm instantly like, someone's tried to contact me twice. So someone must be dead.
Wrong. Yeah.
Do you have BDP? No. Because I'm thinking, that should be my reaction.
Someone's died.
Someone's character. But then I'd be like, someone wants to give me a show. Someone wants to book me. Someone wants to book me for a festival.
Oh,
you know, so
very
maybe I'm a narcissist or something.
Maybe.
I'll leave it up to you.
But no, something that I've noticed and that really annoys me is that on like on trams and things like that is that everybody's on their phones, and sometimes it's like you just sort of stand there and people miss things. So I notice that I can't stand it when young people don't get up for older people to sit down.
I hate that.
And I think it's getting worse.
It is.
Because they're just sort of
Because
like
they're in
this
world.
little world.
They've got blinkers on.
Open your eyes up.
Or you can ignore the old dude. Or you can ignore the old lady and just be like, oh,
Yeah, but you shouldn't.
No. Well, but you know, people use it as a bit of a, you know. But you know, hide in the book. You know, it's just a reading device. You know, let's not get too Luddite about it. You know.
And I suppose it's not as bad as someone actually having a very loud conversation. Via speaking.
Yeah.
True,
Well,
that's really annoying,
That's kind of
actually.
stopped. I mean, that's
stopped.
not so much of an issue as it was before. But,
So possibly a good thing with all the reading.
You know, I think there's no excuse for bad manners, and I think everyone's getting better manners as we go on. I think that's the biggest lot of bullshit I think I said today.
That's a lie.
No, that was absolute crap.
Yeah,
everyone's just fucked basically. What are you doing?
Well, so thank you for coming on tonight and having a chat.
Thanks for having us.
You've been watching Lost in Translation.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for watching. My name is Gavin Henderson. Please visit our website, YouTube channel, Facebook to keep in contact and support Bent TV. Look forward to catching you up next week.